All right, guys. Hey, I'm out here at Fendt Festival, doing a little bit of footage. I came early. The show is just getting started. Try and work with Caden and get some footage done. It's going to be a little bit of salesman talk, just because Fendt is new. Not many people know about it. I love equipment. I'm addicted to equipment. That is my Achilles heel of farming. I would be very successful in farming if I was not addicted to equipment. And so I love events like this where we can just tour. You just get to daydream and just fantasize of someday, you know, kind of stuff. And so we're gonna go get Caden. He's gonna tell us a few features about some of the stuff he's got out here, and then I'll walk around and see a few things on my own, and we'll just kind of have some fun. And then behind the camera, I'm gonna do a whole lot of BSing and having some fun. And so it's what I do. It's what I do. So we're in front of the 1162.
Yep.
What compared to a John Deere? What is this compared to, and how is it different?
Sure. So the John Deere tractor that'd be similar in design to this one. There are two tracks called the 9RT. Of course, their largest one now is a 9RT 590. Our largest model in the two track is the 1167. That is 673 horsepower. There's several things that really separate this tractor from the competition, and one thing is the Vario Drive CVT transmission, and that is truly stepless speed change from 0 to 26.8 miles per hour. Also, we have a isolated front hard bar, and that really increases the ride comfort on this tractor. So if you're going over rough terrain, it's allowing that front hard bar and the track undercarriage to move independently from the frame. And then also the hydraulic drawbar on the back. We've had the hydraulic drawbar on legacy Challenger tractors, but what's new to this machine is the automatic feature. When you're turning, it allows the drawbar to swing away, and when the steering wheel goes back to center, it slowly powers it back to center. One other thing as well with this tractor, it is using the Fendt ID low engine speed concept, which means the engine will never spin over 1750 RPM. That reduces engine wear and saves fuel over the operating life of this tractor. So that's, and with that, when you have tractor management system engaged, it's going to regulate engine speed and transmission ratio based on how much load is on the drawbar or PTO.
I haven't got to stump him yet. Caden's, he's a fun guy. I've got to know him quite a bit over the last couple of years. It's kind of fun because he just memorizes specs and stuff. Super good guy to talk with. Hydraulic drive fan?
Yes. Well, no. Actually, I'm sorry. Yes, it is. It is a hydraulic drive fan.
I got to stump him.
Yep, it is a hydraulic drive fan, but it's different design for some of the other Fendt products. It is a fan that is completely vertical, but there is an engine heat shield right here, so all the air that goes to the cooling package actually gets sent out these screens on the side.
So no hot air is getting pulled across the engine.
Correct.
Okay.
So, but it is a hydraulic fan, yes it is.
Yeah,
so.
And we got to pull one last year on a muddy field day.
Yes.
You guys had, what we have, a half inch or 3/4 of an inch, a half inch of rain on silage ground, and pulling a sunflower disc ripper.
Yep, it's a sunflower. It's actually a Woolrich, which was the same as the sunflower. It was 11 shank, 513 Woolrich with 14-inch points. They're going about 11 inches deep on the shanks and 6 inches deep on the discs.
Okay, and
field consumption was about 26.9 gallons per hour, 27.5 depending on how hard the ground was.
Okay, and it was hard.
It was hard.
It was hard.
Very hard ground.
Yep.
Packed well, a lot of compaction. And speed range anywhere from 6 to 7.5 miles an hour typically, depending on where you were in the field. So
nice. And that's with the CVT.
And that's with the CVT. And what was interesting, when you go down to about 5.5 miles an hour, you can see the engine just pull down to 1250 RPM. You speed up to 7 miles an hour or go back to 1600. It's always using the engine speed required to maintain the.
And when we hit the truck traffic lanes, then you saw it. It pulled the speed down to 5. Engine RPM stayed high. It powered through, and on the back side, then it sped back up to get that maximum efficiency. It was quite an interesting.
Right. It's always in the perfect gear, even though there's no gear. So it really maximized the efficiency with that CVT transmission.
And these are a single gearbox. You don't have to change gearbox.
There's no high and low in this one. Whether you're on the road or in the field, no matter how much the draft load is, it's always in the same single speed. There is no changing that. So.
All right. Well, let's look at some other stuff.
Absolutely.
All right, so the Fendt Ideal Combine, a lot of buzz around this thing. We get to see it on the internet and on the forums and stuff, but there really isn't a whole lot out there. It's fairly new to market. Is there a couple, well, kind of just give us just a quick basics of how this combine operates and a few outstanding features.
Yes, absolutely. So the Fendt Ideal Combine is offered in 4 models. We have the Class 7, and that is actually a single rotor combine. I'll get in more detail about that here shortly. The Class 7 uses a 9.8 liter ACO 7-cylinder engine, I believe 471 horsepower. The Class 8, you're jumping up to a 12.4 liter MAN engine. That's 538 horsepower. That's starting with the twin rotors. You go to the Class 9, 647 horsepower, 15.2 liter MAN engine, and then the beastly Ideal 10T, that is 790 horsepower with a 16.2 liter MAN engine. So the Ideal 7 uses a single rotor, as I said before, 24 inches diameter, 16 feet long. When you go to Class 8 through 10, that is a twin rotor, 2 24-inch diameter rotors, 16 feet long. And then feeding into the rotors, there's a 24-inch feed impeller. There is no discharge cylinders on the backside of the rotors, it is gravity drop. So this combine is actually very power efficient. If you do talk to somebody that's operating this combine, one thing they'll say is they have a lot of power.
Okay.
So
is setting the combine, we both had a really good chuckle at that because of the app-based platform that you could get on the combine.
Yep.
So a little bit about that.
Yeah, so with Ideal Harvest, that is Fendt's automation system on this combine. There is sensors throughout the combine, starting up near the feeder house area, moving back to the threshing, separation, and of course the cleaning system that show the operator on an iPad where the grain is dropping. So you can actually see from the left to right rotor how much each rotor is threshing and separating, and then front to back where the grain is dropping. So you'll notice if you, in the separation area, if you go from the finger style grates to the large grain grates in corn, you'll see that as soon as you get to the large grain grates, you're going to see more corn dropping through. So the sensors are recognizing that.
It drops earlier because on the shoe, setting the shoe, the top chaff, or you change fan speed or we close that top deck, and you could see the grain move back further before it dropped through.
Absolutely.
But it took half a mile. In a half a mile of entering a field, the combine was pretty much set by the time we got to the other end. Sample quality compared to the S-Series Deers, I won't let him say anything. I'm just going to say when we pulled in the field, if we knew it was an S-Series John Deere, we had it. Yeah, I don't want to cause any rift with him and customers, but when it was an S-Series Deere, we knew that very easily. The tank up top, in fact, one of the reps up here is kind of funny. We were out on the one farm, and I kept fussing, like, you know, you and I were just like, we got to get it better. We got to get it better. And the rep from Agco, he looked at it and he just shakes his head. And he says, how about you let the customer look at it? And the customer got up there and he looked at it and he says, holy damn, that I've never seen grain like that clean before. And so that was kind of a refreshing experience.
Yes.
A very gearbox orientated feeder house drive where the Lexion, I'm used to my belts. So we got good horsepower up here.
Yep, 295 horsepower in the hair drive.
Okay.
And then the hydraulic reverser, of course, and we can open the side panel and see that. And also we have a hydraulic reverser on the rotors, which is kind of unique as well.
Yeah.
So you can back the entire combine out.
Joystick steering on the 10. That's a big rumor.
And actually, we can get joystick steering on all the track ride models. We cannot put it on tires, but any model with track ride, you can do the joystick steering. It was introduced when the 10 was introduced, but somewhat unknown to people is, you can get it on all models. So
okay, cool. Cool.
So, and we can move back here into so here's the variable speed for the header drive. Again, 295 horsepower header drive. I'm not sure if that's the highest in the industry, but it's up there with the highest. And here's a hydraulic reverser. Here's the main gearbox that powers most functions on the combine. From the rotors, the cleaning system, the header drive is all driven off of this here. And then moving back, we'll open this panel up. Here's the variable speed for the rotors. And then also right here is the high and low. So it goes from, I believe, 280 to 1160 RPM on the rotors.
Okay.
And here's a hydraulic reverser for those. Very simple combine. There's 13 belts and very few gearboxes, like 8 gearbox or something to that extent, but 13 belts on here. So very simple design. Here you can see the large unloading auger. This is the Streamer 6.0 system that unloads at 6 bushels a second average. And that, I'd imagine the peak unloading at that point would be around 6.2. So this is the longest auger we can get from the factory. This is 34 3/4 feet from the center of the machine. You can get one less here, and some people with 60-foot heads have gone with a third extension out there. I'm not sure that's ACO recommended, but that's something people have done and it's held up so far. So a lot of capability with this combine. Another unique feature is this combine does have a 360 camera system, so you can look from the top of the combine down and see all the way around the combine what's going on. So good safety feature.
All right, so this is my little chore tractor that someday I'd like to have. It's a 300 series Fendt, a very small chassis. You'll see on the outside how compact the chassis is, but you still get this massive cab that I can pretty near stretch my leg out in. So this one has the extra monitor. We don't like it, we can put it out of the way. If we want to bring it back, it comes back down. So we're on this monitor, so I can use this wheel and I can just click and scroll through menus, and I can change things around. It's only a couple screens deep, so it's not like you get page after page after page. And with several pages, then you can have, so here we can have mapping, and then that disappeared. Now we're up on this one, so here I can have whatever, I guess whatever else the guy wants. You can have functional things, functional settings up here, and then we can come down to our dash and we can just have miles per hour and speed, your normal, that kind of stuff down here, or however you want to set whatever you want. You just scroll through, and so everything is so customizable. Orange is powertrain, engine, transmission. Blue is 3-point. Yellow's PTO. White is assignable, so you get several assignable. That comfortable grip right there, that's your speed wheel right there. For cruise speed, you just dial up and down once you got cruise speed going. Joystick for the loader, and cross gate slide, so you get 2 more hydraulics here, like the joystick in my Massey. This little button would replace that, so you could be doing your loader and your grapple or accessories, you know, that you have. The end go, so what I did for guys on manure spreaders is you'd hit go, and that would set their ground speed, turn on the PTO, rev up the engine, turn on the manure spreader, open the gate, catch the guidance line. And when we hit end, it shut all that stuff off, closed the end gate, brought the engine back down to idle or whatever RPM it needed to go, and shot the miles per hour up to 10 or 15 miles an hour to get them back to the end of the field. And so this kind of stuff for repetitive, many multiple functions all day long, it's super cool to have. 2 more hydraulics here, and the hydraulics, they'll change color as you change assignments of them. So you can put this red where this green is, this green where the red is, both of them to green. If you have a new operator, literally, there's just a safety trigger up here. Squeeze the trigger, and you are driving. It's that simple. And they're not complicated to drive, but what I used to do is I would assign all the hydraulics. If it was just a tillage implement, all the hydraulics would be that same color, so nobody could hit a wrong button. Very, very full feature cab. A little more high tech than I'd need to cut and bale hay, but geez, what a beautiful little tractor. We'll shut this key off and see how gorgeous this little puppy is on the outside. Look at that little sucker. That is just cute. Look at it. Short little wheelbase, maneuverable. I love that they run these Trelleborg tires. Very aggressive looking tire. Front 3-point with a loader. That is a nice system. Gosh, someday when I'm YouTube rich, I'll have this little guy to replace my 4020 and 4430. Controls on the fenders. That is a good looking little, you would say a little hay tractor, but since it's on the premium platform, it would be able to do a lot of other functions for me. You know, I could pull the sprayer and stuff like that. I mean, I'm gonna daydream now. So the 900 series, you're gonna start seeing a lot of these being advertised in publications online, and it's a replacement to the old 700 series legacy tractors, the old 765s that everybody's used to, and so it's that same size platform, CVT transmission. Hydraulics is a huge increase. So on the old ones you could get almost up to 60, and the new ones you're gonna be at like 112, 115, something like that for gallons a minute. A big thing they changed just a tiny thing on the suspensions is up front here. They got rid of that pancake and they went to a hard spring. And so on these tractors, when you stop, you can actually see the suspension work, and they still have the same oscillating front end, so the front of the two tracks can ride over bumps like that. And so they're just a phenomenal riding tractor. And everybody that I got to work with on them, on the yellow version of these, was nothing but impressive. And so we're gonna keep an eye out. You're gonna start seeing a lot more of these out there. So the 500 series, I kind of like this one. This would be just a little bit bigger than the 300 down there. A little more bucket capacity, a little larger chassis. This would be one that I could set up into row crop form, and I could do everything the 4020 and the 4430 is doing for the hay, the cattle, and everything, and then have enough tractor that it could pull my planter if I had to. It could really pinch in with the big Massey, and with this guy next to the big Massey, I could easily run 1,000 acres with these two tractors. Just a little powerhouse. Similar Fendt platform. Everything's got the same platform, whether it's a tractor, combine, sprayer, don't matter. Look at these two guys down here. So here's our organic guys are down here. That was Treasure Haven Farms. They're just down the road from me. Check them out on YouTube. Good guys. Small world. We're 2.5 hours from home, and you run into something like this. So this chassis, the 900 series and the 1000 series down there, the 1050, they're kind of a really unique tractor on their own. They're the only tractors that have the CVT up to 500 horse, but they got a smart platform, and so you don't have a mechanical front wheel drive like a traditional tractor where you turn it on and off. It does it automatically, but then it also transfers power between front and rear automatically based upon who's spinning and who's got traction. And on the 1000 series, then they run a hydraulic fan for even more efficiency, and you can set the intervals of when it reverses. The fuel efficiency on these things is just unbelievable. And when we were hauling silage with that 1050 the other fall, I mean, after several hundred hours, it was at 6 gallons an hour, pulling 100,000 pounds up and down the road. Very, very impressive. And so this would be a size to replace my Massey, but it would be light years ahead of my Massey as far as everything goes.